Hello and welcome back to my channel. In this one I'm going to be turning a piece of London plane from this lump I've got in my hands here. This particular piece was actually a offcut from the sawmills that I use regularly, my good friends down at Cornwall Hardwood Supplies in Caherland. I'm going for a live edge bowl, so I'm going to rough cut on the bandsaw to a almost round shape. I've kind of drawn a rough mark on there for myself to guide. Faceplate on and mounting to the lathe. Again, turning this one on my Union Graduate, which is set up as a bowl turning lathe, so it's got a short bed there, which means you can work all the way around, making it much easier, especially with bigger diameter bowls. This one started around about 14.5 inches and finished around about 13. This is actually the first piece of London plane I've turned. I've worked with it quite a lot previously in quarter sawn board form for cheese boards and things like that, which look absolutely stunning, revealing all of that lacewood pattern in it. But as you can see straight away, it's cutting really nicely. It behaves very similarly to maple or sycamore. It's quite a similar style of grain, and yeah, as you can see, beautiful ribbons on the first few cuts. Just working on the outside curve of the bowl here and trying to get a nice wide open shape with this one. Quite an interesting wood London plane. I did a bit of research and found out it's most commonly prized for its resistance to pollution, which is why it's most commonly found in cities. It's also believed that it was created by crossbreeding an American sycamore and an oriental plane tree, which would explain why it behaves quite similar to maple, has a similar grain, and sycamore as well. Most commonly planted in the late 18th century in London, which I assume is why it has the name London plane. As I've mentioned in a couple of my latest videos, I've not long moved workshops. I used to be based just outside of St Ives, and I'm now just outside of Sennon, so I've moved a bit further west, not far from Land's End, about as far as I can get. But obviously, as you can see, I've got a slightly bigger workshop, and I'm still working out my camera angles as I'm normally filming just on my own. So please let me know in the comments what you think so far, and any suggestions, any camera angles you prefer, don't like, let me know. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It costs nothing and it really helps with getting my videos out there and encourages me to make more. that's the outside finished and all sanded. You can start to see some of that grain colouring and patterns showing through. Flip it around, remove the faceplate and start hollowing out the inside. First few cuts, quite gentle, light cuts, working towards the centre. As you can see, bracing the chisel against my hip and allowing the front hand to slide the chisel through as it works towards the middle there, keeping my arm out the firing line, those wings coming round. This was definitely the most fun part of making this bowl. As I'm cutting through here, you can see beautiful shavings coming off, and the chisel was just gliding through the cut once I got past the wings, where obviously it's always going to be a bit bouncy, cutting through air more than wood. And as soon as you hit the core of the bowl, the chisel just starts gliding its way through effortlessly, and the shavings just come off perfectly, and the finish from the cut is lovely. Here you can really see how nicely this wood is cutting and how the chisel's just gliding through the bevel, almost polishing the cut surface perfectly. Last couple of cuts here, and these were very fine finishing cuts. You can see much thinner shavings coming off, and trying to get as clean a finish as possible before sanding to reduce the amount of sanding needed. Sanding using a bowl sander with various grits going right the way down, starting with 80 and finishing at around 600, so you get a nice polished finish, ready for hemp oil. As always, lock skin hemp oil for wood, link will be in the description. Here we get to see a bit of that lacewood pattern I mentioned earlier. There wasn't as much in this bowl as I was hoping for. That would be mainly due to the orientation of the piece in the blank. If I get hold of any more, I'll definitely be trying to get more of a lacewood pattern out of the bowl. I have to work out which way around the blank prefers to be turned. That's the first coat all soaked in and excess wiped off. That will be left to cure for a couple of days before another coat will go on, and depending on how it soaks up the finish, it will have between 3 and 5 coats generally. This wood tends to work pretty well off 3 or 4 coats. It's not too porous, it doesn't soak up as much oil as some softer woods. And there we are, the finished bowl. Nice simple live edge bowl in London plain. My first London plain piece on the lathe. Thank you for watching, and let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for a new video coming soon.